Mike, thanks for being on the air. I know we got Jun Tzu on the air with us as well, so if you want to kind of set him up a little bit, we'll play his song, and then we'll talk to him about what he's up to.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jack. I ran up on Jun Tzu. I don't even remember how. I actually contacted him initially. I sent him a couple emails. No response, because he's an international success, you know what I'm saying? And finally, I sent him an email, and I said, "Look, June, me and my whole crew are coming over there with baseball bats. I'm going to beat you to death if you don't respond to my email." I said, and of course, he contacted me back. Not out of fear, because he saw it as a challenge and threatened to kick my ass.
That's the language he speaks. That's okay.
But June, he's a very talented artist. He's from originally hails from Belfast, Ireland, Northern Ireland. Grew up in the Red Cool housing projects there. June, I'm going to let you finish the rest of the story, but can you hear me, June?
Let's go ahead and play the song, June. Stand by, June. We're going to play your song, Wee Johnny, and I want my audience to hear this. About a 2-minute song, and the first 2-minute rap song I've ever heard, I think. Here it is, the edited radio edit version on Deadline Live. Jun Tzu from polygraphradio.com. Stay tuned. Here it is.
Here, tell you what pisses me off, like, see all these rappers? There's loads of...
Deadline Live, Jack Blood. That is Jun Tzu, Wee Johnny. June, thanks for joining us. I appreciate you being on the show. Talk about your music, your inspiration, Polygraph Radio, if you like, and that song.
Basically, that song is the only released song from my debut album that will be released next year, entitled The Troubles. And it is the first album of its kind ever made in history. It's called The Troubles, and it's basically about the troubles in Northern Ireland and the conflicts that go on there between the Protestants and the Catholics. And it's also about my troubles, my own personal troubles, moving away from Belfast as a young child and moving to England and experiencing a lot of racism. And it's the first of its kind in so many ways, because one, there has never been a representation of Belfast. There's a lot of Southern Irish rappers on the scene, but there has never ever been a Northern Irish rapper. And I basically talk about what it's like growing up in Belfast and moving away, and I combine traditional Irish music with hip-hop music, and I've created my own genre, traditional Northern Irish hip-hop. The Troubles will be the first of its kind ever released in 2010, and that's the first song that was released from it. It's called Wee Johnny, and it's basically about what the people in the paramilitaries in Northern Ireland would be saying about my music, because I believe that my music talks about revolution, and it talks about inner revolution that comes from your heart, and not political bigotry that is going on over there, mindless violence.
I just thought I was out of the loop, June, that I hadn't heard anything like this before, and the way you tell it, that's why I haven't heard it, because it hasn't been done. The way your accent kind of rolls the R's in some of that is really provocative. It's super catchy. The first time I heard it, I think it took me about 7 hours to get it out of my head.
Poor sorry. Well, a lot of people say that as well, and to be honest, it was a funny song because I wrote it out of anger, because I had received death threats from people in Northern Ireland threatening to kill me over my music, and I wrote that song in retaliation. And then after I wrote it, I thought, I'm not gonna record it. It's a bit too political, it might get me shot. So I left it for about 6 months, and then I performed it live in England, and one of England's top producers called Baby J, he said he wanted to work with me, so he picked me up, drove me to a studio, and that's where we recorded Wee Johnny. So it all just sort of came about,
How did you think that this would be perceived in America? Did you think that out at all, or you just don't care? I mean, just doing your music?
No, of course I care, because, but I mean, the fact is, I don't know what Americans want to hear, but I mean, I'll tell you what they need to hear. Americans need to hear the truth about the troubles in Ireland, and a lot of people that have no concept of the troubles, not even Americans, I'm talking about English people. The British have no conception of the troubles in Northern Ireland whatsoever, and I don't think most of the world does either. They seem to think it's between Protestants and Catholics, but when you look closely at the roots, you realise that it is not about religion, it is not about Catholics nor Protestants, but it is about British imperialism. The British came to Ireland, raped its women, killed its men, and decided to set up camp and claim it as British territory. So what happened is the Irish decided to revolt and strike back, and they were called terrorists. there's a lot of news coverage on Belfast at the minute as well, because there has been another few shootings. A few British soldiers were shot dead the last few months in
McGuinness
Belfast.
has been threatened also.
Yes, well, but to be honest, this is what I have to say now, truthfully, right? You see this thing about terrorists, you have to understand this, that they can call anybody a terrorist, and the reason is because of this, that they want complete control of society, and if there's anyone that steps out of line in any type of way, they can brand them a terrorist. For no other reason apart from they disagree with what they have to say.
That sounds familiar.
And they throw them, and the truth of the matter is this. It doesn't matter about what side of the divide you're on. It doesn't matter what country you're in. It all matters upon what you believe and what you're willing to do for your beliefs. Yep. Now, if you're willing to just sit there and just be, a nonchalant, fighter of the cause and just go about your life happy-dally, then so be it. But I don't, and I believe that my music is a means to an end. And the Troubles is only the beginning of what will come from Jun Tzu.
Music is really more powerful than bullets, and that's what I would like to see a lot more of in this country. June and I are going to do a big interview on Polygraph Radio. We're going to go into depth in some of this. June, quickly, if you could give out your website or your MySpace so people can sample out more of your music.
Yes, well, JunTzu.com will be up and running from next Wednesday, so you can check out JunTzu.com. But for the meantime, my music is on MySpace. It's www.myspace.com/JUNTZU.
June, I really appreciate you being on, and I think you're working with some great guys here. They have been huge, these two guys in the United States of America, for freedom and activism, standing against tyranny, and I'm really glad that you guys all hooked up. And as I said, you and I will be doing an interview here hopefully soon, and we'll really get in deeply into all of this, your music, your inspiration, and how music can fight for freedom.
Sounds good, my friend. Well, it's a pleasure to be a part of it as well,
Thanks for joining us, man. You have a good one, okay?
All the best, lads. Take care of yourselves.
We will, and we'll take care of others. That was great, you guys. That's just a tip. That's just a sample.
What would your life be like?